Hey there everybody, it's Alex here from VG247.com, and you can see what I have here. I'm extremely excited about what we have here, which is the Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080, and also I've got the 2080 Ti to take a look at as well. And basically this is the big new graphics card from the guys at Nvidia, who are the most popular graphics card company going at the minute. Obviously they do have their rivals, but none of them quite sell as much or have as much swing. So this is the one really that PC gamers are looking at and looking for. And we're going to be doing a lot of stuff over the coming weeks. We're going to be doing some benchmarks. We're going to be testing out how it works with certain games. We're going to be making sure we look at the ray tracing, which is the big new technology for it. And of course, we're going to be making sure that we sort of benchmark and see exactly how good this is. If you've been following the website, if you've been following VG247.com, you'll know that we already sort of did some coverage of when this was announced. But now obviously we're going to get more in depth, because when it was announced, we were just at an event. Now we've actually got one in our hands, in the office, so to speak, even though we don't have an office on VG247, we all work from home. But I've got my hands on one, and that means I'm going to be testing it quite a lot. So I figured I would start out with just a nice simple unboxing so you can take a look at what the card looks like, and I can sort of handle it in front of you and bring it up close to the camera, which we couldn't do nearly as easily at the Nvidia event. Although that was a really good, really informative event, and you can go and read all about the event on VG247.com, and I highly recommend it. So just quickly on the back here, obviously, you've got the minimum requirements, the support details, what's included in the box, yeah, and all that sort of stuff. If you don't know the system requirements, just to quickly run down it as printed on the back. So for this, the 2080 Ti, you obviously need a PCI Express port. You obviously need the right power connectors, one 6-pin, one 8-pin. You need a 650 watt power supply, an absolute minimum. You need 1.5 GB of hard drive space, 8 gig of memory, i.e. RAM, 16 ideally though. And of course you need the right operating system. So anyway, let's get to it, because you just want to see the card, and I want to keep this video relatively short and sweet. So it's quite a nice piece of packaging actually. Just lifts off, and there it is. So let's take a look. So as you can see, the big deal this time is you do have a dual cooler design, which on the reference cards, that's the first time they've ever done that. Now, if you don't know what a reference card is, just to quickly explain that side of things, reference card basically refers to the first baseline card that Nvidia themselves release. And then later on, well, not later on, straight away actually, you get companies like Asus or Gigabyte or whoever release their own versions of these cards with their own take on what they think the card should be like. So that means they've got a unique cooler design. Sometimes they're overclocked, sometimes they're not, and so on and so forth. But the reference design is what Nvidia puts out as basically them saying, this is, as the name suggests, the reference, the benchmark for this entire range. So for the full range of 2080 Ti, for the full range of 2080s, and indeed for the full range of 2080 Ti's, this is the range now. Anyway, so let's just pull this out of here and take a look. So I'm gonna pull this off. I can't quite get that silly thing off, but I'm gonna take one moment. So you can see we've got on the back here a gorgeous, I think really nice looking solid plate back, just with a basic design on it. Details of the actual card up at the top. Got dual coolers here, as we discussed. This is sort of a shiny material, so when you peel that back, obviously that's plain behind it. I'm not going to peel that off until it's in my case though. And then we've obviously got this here, lights up, and you've got a big, long cooler all the way across radiator. And then obviously you've got your power connectors. As mentioned earlier, it's a 6-pin and an 8-pin on this one. And that's not true of all the cards, but we'll come on to that in a moment. So you've got a big, long cooler. And Nvidia at the event were explaining how this card, they have gone above and beyond in terms of the cooler, because they've got that dedicated ray tracing core. And if you don't know about ray tracing, check out the video we did on Battlefield 5 where you can see a bunch of gameplay footage with ray tracing in action. I'll link that at the end of the video and down in the description. But because they've got this dedicated ray tracing core, you know, they needed to make sure that this card wasn't going to overheat. And so for the first time, all the reference cards they've done in the past have just had the one cooler, usually at this end, and then it's been flat down here. For the first time, they're doing two, which is the design that you more commonly got on the overclocked third-party cards. And also, they say, and this is one of the things that we will test in detail, they say that these fans are absolutely amazing. They say that they're really powerful, but more important than that, absolutely whisper quiet. We will see if that is the case when we test out the card in full. Anyway, I'm just going to slide that back into there for a moment, because for British people, I would describe this as here's my Blue Peter moment. Here's one I made earlier. Here is its big brother, the 2080 Ti. So the 2070 isn't out for a while, but these are the two that are out now. And so basically you can see very similar. It's just obviously you've got the TI text here, same design. I do think that these are actually the best looking cards of this range. So when we went to the Nvidia event, they had all the other cards from people like Asus and Gigabyte and so on and so forth, and EVGA out. And I have to say, I think this was the best looking one of the bunch, the actual original reference card, which is usually not the case. Usually it's somebody like EVGA or Gigabyte or somebody who produces the best looking one. But I think this time it's Nvidia. These cards, same form factor. They feel like they're way more or less the same. The only major difference is this is two 8-pin connectors here on the Ti, because that is a more powerful card. Same deal though, where this GeForce RTX text lights up green when it's plugged in, and it's still the glossy design here. And yeah, you've got these fans, and yeah, it's a good looking card, I think. And then just so you know, just gonna pop that down for a second. What else is in the box? Well, it's nothing to write home about really, I don't think. So you open it up, and so in here you've got your documentation, pretty standard stuff. But then also, here is, and I think this is really good that they've included this, a DVI to DisplayPort adapter. So if you've got a monitor that only has a DVI output, though I've got to be honest, the sort of people who are buying these cards probably have higher end monitors than that, but still, if for some reason you end up having one of these and you have a monitor that only has a DisplayPort, they've included what you need to get up and running in the box as standard. And I think that's really, really good. So yeah, no SLI stuff included here. So you don't get an SLI cable as you have on previous gen cards, just because they've now got their own sweet, nifty metal plate SLI thing. It looks amazing. The sort of clamps on here in between the two cards when they're lined up in that sort of fashion. But yeah, so that is the 2080 Ti and the 2080. 2070, of course, isn't out yet, so we will look into testing that later on. But I just wanted to do a quick unboxing. That's what they look like. I think they're gorgeous looking cards, but now it's all about the performance. So stick with us on VG 24/7, both on VG247.com and, of course, here on the YouTube channel, where we're going to be doing benchmarks and tests, not just now, but one thing we will do is we will continue to evaluate these cards as we go forward. So when new games come out, we're going to look at them. A great example is these cards are obviously out in September. Battlefield 5 is out in November. And Battlefield 5 is a really big game for these because it's one of the first games, I think, that's going to really impress with the ray tracing technology that's in here. So, of course, we're going to look at these cards now for launch, so you can decide if you want one on launch month. But we're definitely going to use the 2080 Ti to benchmark Battlefield, for instance, and see how it performs both with and without ray tracing in a home environment rather than at an event. So you can look forward to all that. But for now, that's it. As I said, don't forget to give us a like, give us a subscribe, stick around. There's lots more of this stuff to come. Until next time, everyone. Bye.